Len, don't you think I look beautiful? Well, you better, or I'll crush you with my host crusher. Ugh, this confessional booth is ugly. Well, hello Philippines, I'm Flower, the most beautiful drag queen in all of Goiki, here in Manila to take my well-deserved crown home. Some queens will call me abrasive, and I've been disqualified from competitions before for getting a little too abrasive, but I'm planning to play a clean game here. We saw what happened to Celestia last season, though unlike her, I'm actually talented.
Flower stands next to the main station and leans against the table, tapping her foot while she waits for the next queen.
From pageant perfection to farm girl couture, your queen is here to take yet another crown. Well, hello everyone. My name is Mimi Tachikawa, if it happens that you haven't heard of me. You may know me from things like being the only queen to win the title of Miss Cartoon Continental twice, winning the Miss Digimon pageant last year, being the drag mother of a cartoon drag race winner, touring the world with my friend Cynthia, and any other number of feats of drag. But that's all boring stuff. I'm here to win, of course, but that'll come on its own. After all, I've never lost a competition in drag before. But really, I want to connect with the other queens in this competition as best I can. Who's the queen who's already here? She looks glamorous, but very angry. Perhaps my first friend here?
Flower's jaw drops as Mimi enters the room, which Mimi giggles at. As she starts greeting Flower and introducing herself, Flower cuts her off, and says obviously she knows who she is, she's Mimi Tachikawa. Mimi nods, and asks about Flower. Flower introduces herself, and says she's honored to be here with a queen she looks up to so much. Mimi just waves her hand, and says that they're all equals here, and she can't wait to see what Flower can do.
Oh, for petal's sake. I'm making myself sick with this fangirl behavior. This isn't how I normally am, but that is Mimi fucking Tachikawa. Other than the fact that we are all completely fucked in this competition with her here, I'm completely starstruck. I wonder if she'll sign one of my petals.
Mimi hollers that they're ready for the next queen, and just as she does, they begin to hear footsteps in the hallway.
Is your blood sugar low? Well, Philippines, I'm ready to satisfy your sweet tooth. Well, I guess I made it after all. Hi everybody, I'm Meringue. I come from New Horizons, though unlike Ionion last season, I'm ready to really make my mark on this competition. I don't like to brag or be vain, but I think I may be one of the greatest designers in cartoon drag race history. I've trained under the Able sisters for years, learning all there is to know about design and fashion, and developing my own personal style. I draw inspiration from the Harajuku street fashion culture in Japan, making clothes that are as sweet as I am. From the looks on the other queens' faces, I know I really turned it out this time around.
This queen looks amazing. Every time I look at this entrance look I notice something else I love about it. I mean, it's made entirely of candy. Though I do hope that she covered up properly, or that yeast infection will be a nightmare.
Meringue heads to sit with the other queens, and asks who each of them are. Mimi immediately squeals with excitement, and Flower asks how she doesn't know who Mimi is.
Oh my god, yes. I love when this happens. A name like mine in the drag scene is hard to be friends with. I have this status that makes other queens think of me as untouchable, and it makes it hard to make friends with other queens. If she doesn't know who I am, we can just hit it off like normal.
Mimi turns to Flower and shushes her, saying not to tell her. Flower frowns, but leaves it there. Meringue tilts her head, and asks what the two are talking about, but Mimi just says not to worry about it and introduces herself.
I'm not sure who this queen is, but I do like her already. She seems like a pageant queen, and I don't really enjoy pageants, so I don't know many queens from them. But her drag is so cute, I'd absolutely sell this at the shop. I think we'll get along here.
Meringue asks the other queens how long they've done drag. Flower responds that she's been doing drag for almost 15 years. Meringue looks impressed, and says she's done drag for about 5 years, but has been designing for a very long time. Mimi asks if she made the look she's wearing now, and Meringue nods, with Flower looking shocked.
She made that? That's one of the best entrance looks to come into this workroom. I don't say this often, but I'm very impressed. I fear that the top 3 of the season is in this room.
Mimi adds that she's been doing drag for about 20 years, before jokingly saying that she's done it since she was 3. The queens laugh. Flower looks to the other queens and says that she thinks they're the strongest bitches here, and proposes that they start an alliance. Meringue looks unsure, but Mimi claps in excitement and says she'd love to. She then turns to Meringue and excitedly asks her to please join, to which Meringue sighs and says she will. Flower asks if they should be the Pretty Girl Alliance, to which Meringue laughs and says she isn't Lola. Mimi suggests that they call themselves the Pinkberries, since they all wear a lot of pink. Flower says like the frozen yogurt company, and Mimi tilts her head, confused. Flower says never mind, and that they'll use that.
I'm not sure why the hell we're naming an alliance after frozen yogurt, but whatever, Mimi seems to like it. The name matters less than the people in it, anyway.
Ready to turn up the volume? Well, too bad. It's my time now. Well, guess who finally showed up? I'm Ritsuka Uenoyama if you didn't know. You probably remember my boyfriend, Mafuyu Sato, who was on the last season. And yes, I said boyfriend, we are still together. There was a moment or two last season with our sen that may have put that into question, but we worked things out. First impressions, it seems the competition this time around is fierce. Flower definitely has a reputation, she's a bit on the temperamental side, but then again, I am too. I see Mimi Tachikawa here, which is a complete gag. I suppose the budget went up. And I know Meringue pretty well, she and Mafuyu are good friends, and they've worked together on designs in the past. I can't wait to see how this turns out.
Ritsuka goes to the other queens, noting that they got some big names this season with the 4 of them, and saying hello to Meringue. Meringue smiles, and says it's nice to see him, and that she definitely expected to see him here after Sato was on the last season. Ritsuka says he's happy to be here, and that while he loves Sato hopefully he'll actually get a win. Meringue laughs.
I'll be very honest, I'm not impressed by this queen. His entrance look is fine, I suppose. It's distressed fashion, and we saw last season how that can be done correctly by Vanessa. But this is basically just Vanessa's drag from Wish.com. Boring.
I'm finally here. Take that, messy mouse. Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, reporting for duty. Hello everybody. My name is Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, your friendly neighborhood old school comedy queen. I've been in this game for a long time. I actually started as part of a duo with Mickey Mouse, who is now one of the most famous queens in the world. We're both pretty old, but when he got his big break, he left me behind. Since then I've been trying to break into the spotlight, and now I'm on Cartoon Drag Race Philippines. He's gonna be fuming, haha. I have a lot to prove here, so wish me luck.
Oswald runs to the other queens and introduces himself, saying they all look great. Flower looks at him and just rolls her eyes.
Oh, this one is gonna annoy me, I can already tell. The same cookie comedy shtick we've seen on queens in the past, like that pink one from last season. And he has the skid mark contour that all of them do. I mean, seriously, when did being allegedly funny give queens an excuse to look ugly? If you're going to do comedy, you better be just as stamped as the rest of us.
Meringue welcomes Oswald, and asks where he's from, saying he looks familiar. Oswald says that he comes from Toontown, but adds that Meringue probably doesn't recognize him because he doesn't have much of a following. Meringue blinks, and says that he looks a bit like Mickey Mouse, and Oswald frowns.
Oh god, the comparisons have started already. I didn't want to bring him up. This is going to follow me all season. I just want my drag to speak for itself without that mouse getting in the way.
Wow, Meringue is right. He looks a lot like Mickey. I wonder if there's a relation there? I mean, he seems pretty upset about it, but in fairness I'd be upset too if someone compared me to Messy Mouse. He should be careful, he may get sued for copyright infringement.
Oswald replies that he doesn't know what she's talking about, but that he's excited to meet everybody. Before Meringue can say anything else, Oswald cuts her off and says that it's probably time for the next queen. Meringue just sighs and looks to the doorway.
Guess who passed the psych test? I must be a pretty good liar. Yes, it's true, the winner is here. Is anybody surprised? Hell, I was supposed to be on last season, but that damn psych test got me cut at the last minute. I heard I was replaced by Spinel, which is interesting. Anyway, I'm here now, and I'm ready to take this competition by storm. My entrance look has already put all of these queens to shame, and I made it from scratch to boot. A complete Skull Kid original. The queens in my hometown really aren't fans of me. I actually barely get bookings there, because they just don't accept drag like mine. But who needs them? I've made my own, and now I'm on Cartoon Drag Race Philippines.
Skull Kid laughs, and asks the other queens if they're ready to go home yet. Mimi giggles and says that he looks great. Meringue agrees, asking if he made the look, and Skull Kid confirms that he did. Mimi says it looks like Meringue has competition, and Skull Kid replies that she isn't competition to him, laughing to himself. Meringue just rolls her eyes.
Oh, another bitcha queen. How original. He seems talented, but seriously, can't anyone just be nice? Then again, I'm allied with Flower, and she doesn't seem like the nicest person here. Really, I just didn't want to let Mimi down. She seems so excited about an alliance, and she seems sweet like me.
Ritsuka says that his audition tape must have gone pretty well if he was serving looks like this. Skull Kid corrects him, saying that he didn't have to audition, the Kagamine twins invited him directly. The queens look gagged, and Ritsuka seems especially annoyed.
Oh, so we have a Nepo baby in the workroom. What kind of stunt is that? All of us here worked hard, we sent in tapes, and we got the votes. It takes some nerve to bring in a bitch that wasn't in the group of most voted queens.
It's quite alright if you don't want me. Not everyone has good taste.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
Not what you expected, am I? Haha. Well, I'm here. In case you live under a rock, I'm Aventurine, the global fashion phenomenon gracing this season. If you kept up with the casting process, you might be surprised, since for whatever reason, I actually got the lowest score of any queen in the casting special. But production clearly saw something in me that the viewers didn't, and they're not gonna regret it. Get ready to be obsessed.
Aventurine looks to the other queens and asks if they like what they see, before walking over to the table. Ritsuka starts to respond, but Aventurine cuts him off, complimenting his entrance look and saying he looks very polished, before winking at him. Ritsuka stops what he's saying, and just goes quiet.
Well, I don't want to talk about it.
What can I say? I'm good at what I do. And I don't want to get off on the wrong foot with him, because for one thing I know he's a strong queen, and for another he looks mighty fine in that torn up look. So I got ahead of things.
Oswald asks how he got into the cast, when the reaction to his tape online was so negative. Aventurine reveals that he was actually the least voted queen in the casting special, but was chosen to compete anyway by the twins and the production team. Flowerface cracks, but before she can say anything, the alarm for the Rue mail rings.
Huh? The Rue mail? But there's only 7 queens here. Is this a split premiere? Are we the first group or the second? Who else will be here? I'm getting a little nervous about this.
Well, hello, my queens. Welcome to Cartoon Drag Race Philippines Season 2. Of course, this isn't the full cast. 6 queens have gotten here before you, and have already introduced themselves to the world. To give everyone a chance to shine, we've split you into groups. Oh, interesting. So there's more girls here. That's good, more queens to meet and a bit more competition for me. I wonder who has gone home already, or if I know any of the queens. In this week's episode, you'll perform in a girl group to World Is Mine, by our drag sister Hatsune Miku. And tonight on the runway, category is Reveal Realness.
Oh, it's over for these girls. Dance is what I do, it's my entire life. If there's a challenge for me to win, it's this one. I mean, for fuck's sake, I'm in a world touring band. I can do a girl group.
Oh my god, I love this runway category. It's one of my favorite looks I brought to this competition, and I'm ready for the judges to praise it. Now, good luck, and don't fuck it up.
The queens split up to write their verses for the challenge. Flower, Mimi, and Meringue go to the same station, and Mimi asks the group if they're excited for the challenge. Flower says that while she thinks she'll do well, she's especially excited for the runway, because she has a strong look lined up. Meringue agrees, saying that she really isn't a dancer, and is worried she'll go home. Flower scoffs, and says that there's no chance she goes home over some of the other queens in this room. As she says this, she glances at Oswald. Meringue just looks back down at her paper to write her verse.
I don't know what Flower's issue with Oswald is. She's been cold to him since he got here, and he really hasn't done anything to deserve it. I don't like mean queens, so I'm not 100% sure how long this alliance will last if she keeps it up.
Mimi says she's very excited for this challenge, and for the runway. Flower says it makes sense she's so confident, since she's essentially good at everything. Mimi laughs, and says she's being dramatic. Meringue asks why everyone seems so gagged by Mimi being here. Mimi looks at her and says that if they're being technical, she is one of the most acclaimed queens ever, but that she doesn't want to talk about her titles here because it tends to scare people off. Meringue laughs and says that it doesn't scare her off, and she sees all the queens here as equals. Mimi smiles.
Meringue is such a sweetheart. I'm so happy to have made a friend here, and I hope she makes it all the way to the end with me. Flower as well. She isn't quite as sweet, but she really is sickening, and she seems to like me.
Ritska, Aventurine, and Skull Kid are sitting at the same station. As Skull Kid writes his verse, he keeps glancing up at the other two, who are flirting back and forth. Skull Kid rolls his eyes.
Jesus Christ, get a room. I'm not a dancer, and I'm trying to figure out how I can turn this out so I don't go home tonight. I have a strong runway, but I can't wrap my head around this verse, and two twunks batting their eyelashes like they're DL boys at a slumber party is a really annoying distraction.
Aventurine asks Ritska how he feels about the challenge and runway this week. Ritska blinks a bit, before responding that he's confident, since he's a dancer, but that he has to get to work on his verse right away. As he turns to his paper, Aventurine puts a hand on his shoulder, and asks if they can please talk for a little longer. Ritska pauses, before sighing, and saying they can talk for just a few more minutes. Skull Kid gags a bit, and goes back to his verse.
Unlike most of these queens, I actually have a brain between my ears. I've prepared for everything, and I wrote a verse ahead of time knowing I'd need one eventually. All I had to do was modify it slightly to fit the beat of the song, and I'll pick up the choreography easily. May as well use this free time wisely. I'm distracting Ritska, a big threat in this competition. I'm pulling trade, which is one of my favorite activities. I'm making a strong ally by doing that. And when Ritska thinks too hard about what he's doing, the moral implications of it will throw him off his game, sending that threat and ally home. That's like 4 birds with 1 sexy stone. It's me, I'm the stone.
Oswald is sitting alone at a station, staring down at a blank paper. He puts his head into his hands, looking defeated.
I came here to prove that I'm a star, but God, I'm not used to this anymore. As soon as the other queens compared me to Mickey, I was completely shaken, and now I've frozen up entirely. I can't think of any lyrics, and I've always had 2 left feet, so I don't think the choreography will go well either. This is horrible.
Oswald looks over to Mimi and Meringue laughing, and decides to ask for some advice, heading over to their station. As soon as he gets there and starts to say something to Mimi, Flower cuts him off, and asks who invited him to their station. Oswald gets upset, and angrily says that he didn't come to talk to her, he came to talk to Mimi and Meringue for advice. Flower just scoffs, and asks why exactly they would help him. Meringue tries to speak up, but Flower cuts her off and continues speaking, saying that their alliance isn't interested in helping the soon-to-be Porkchop find his talent, and waves him away. Oswald is visibly furious, but just storms off.
Oh, that has completely pissed me off. All of the motivation has flooded back into my body. I'm gonna prove those monsters wrong, and I'll prove the rest of the world wrong while I'm at it. I can do anything I put my mind to, they'll see.
Hello my loves, and welcome to Cartoon Drag Race Philippines Season 2. I am one of your beloved hosts, Kagamane Len. Please welcome our beautiful judging panel, the other half of our sickening judging duo, it's Kagamane Rin. And our very close frenemy, the most iconic villain in Cartoon Drag Race history, it's Lola. Welcome back, darling. Wait a minute, are you popping a pill?
It's Dramamine. It helps with the nausea I get from all this sewage drag. Now, please leave the stage so that someone hopefully less rotted can stand there.
Oh, well, anyway. In our first Maxi challenge, the first half of our cast was tasked with writing a verse and choreographing for a girl group performance, both to the song World Is Mine by our sister Hatsune Miku. And tonight on the runway, category is Reveal Realness. Without further ado, let's begin.
Mimi Tachikawa and Aventurine slayed the challenge.
I killed it tonight, which is what I expected, but I will admit, I was a little distracted during the challenge, so I'm glad everything worked out. I kept spacing out thinking about who might be in the other group, and at the end of it all, I only spent about half the time as everyone else on my verse. Maybe even a little less. But hey, I still turned it out, and it looks like there's a win in my future.
It's just that easy. Kagamine Len looked especially obsessed with me, though I tend to have that effect on people. But poor Ritsuka, he really didn't get much done with how much time I distracted him for. I almost feel bad. Haha, almost.
Flower and Oswald the Lucky Rabbit were great in the challenge.
Oh, Lola was completely living for me tonight, and clocked the footwear. That's right, you're seeing what you think you're seeing. I'm wearing non-slip shoes, so ha.
I don't know what came over me. I'm not a dancer, I never have been, but I hit every step. And after that standoff with Flower, I suddenly had so many ideas for my verse, and the judges seemed to really enjoy it.
Ritsuka Uenoyama was good in the challenge.
What even came over me? My choreography was perfect, and it was me and Mimi that made the choreography for the group, which we did very successfully. But that verse was definitely not the best of the night. I barely spent any time on it, I was so distracted by Aventurine's eyes, and his cheekbones, and that voice. What the hell am I talking about? This won't happen again.
Skull Kid and Meringue were bad in the challenge.
I wasn't expecting to slay tonight. But God, I couldn't focus enough to even try. My verse was mediocre, and I still have a headache from listening to those two morons. It probably didn't help that I tripped over myself a bit in the performance. I'm not the greatest lip syncer, but I'm not ready to go home. So if I have to pull a Celestia and light something on fire, I will. And by that I mean I'll light my opponent on fire so they can't lip sync and I win by default.
Listen, I'm just not a dancer. My verse was great, it was very unique and it told the judges about me. But my lip sync was off, I didn't have the choreography down, and I'm sure I looked terrified on that stage. Ugh, this is a disaster. Let's hope for the best, my sweets.
Mimi Tachikawa, Aventurine, and Flower slayed the runway.
I had the best look of the category by far, and my presentation on the runway was unmatched, probably because I walk real runways for a living and not just dilapidated bar stages. Every reveal my outfit was entirely different, and I of course worked each one into each other. This is a reveal runway, not a take things off runway. Flower and Mimi were good too, I suppose, especially Flower. I'll have to keep an eye on that one.
This look is an original from my fashion line, Glitter for Your Face. Every part of this look repels acid as well, by the way, and if you want something almost as good you can visit my pop-up shop. Well, anyway, my reveal tonight was the most inspired for sure. I tore off each and every one of my petals as I walked down the runway, and once I was as bald as Oswald, boom, I grew back twice as many, and tore my outfit open to reveal a cape of petals. This runway absolutely wins flower power.
Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, Meringue Skull Kid, and Ritsuka Uenoyama were great on the runway.
My look tonight, well, I even impressed myself. I started off in a bright yellow look, covered head to toe in glitters and rhinestones. The light was hitting every part of my body, and the judges were blinded by my look. Then, with one spin, and a sneaky release of some buttons I hid in the back, the look falls into a night sky-inspired gown covered in stars. I look amazing, and nobody else can compare.
My queens, I have made some decisions. Ritsuka Uenoyama, you are safe. You may leave the stage. The rest of you are the tops and bottoms of the week.
This is so frustrating. Dance is what I do, it's my specialty, and tonight it's exactly what I did. But my verse held me back. I need to focus up from now on.
Now, let's get into the critiques. Flower, please step forward.
Flower, you killed it tonight. Your verse was so damn cunty, you knew your steps, and Flower. Oh my god, this runway look. Honestly, you all showed out in this category, but yours was on a level above. Fantastic job this week.
If this is your first showing on this runway, and it's that unique, I'm at the edge of my seat to see what's in that twisted mind of yours. When you hit that runway, you told every bitch here exactly what time it was. And you didn't slouch in the performance either. When you ended your verse by shouting that you were wearing non-slip shoes, so I fear the scream I let out may have distracted you guys from performing, haha. Great showing.
You were my favorite this week by a strong margin. I can tell that you're fierce, just like me, and you're going to put each of these girls in their place. In the challenge you impressed me, and on the runway you were a complete force. Be very proud. As of right now, I am #Team Flower.
The judges were obsessed with me, just as they should be. I do have a shot at the win this week. Though, my sister Mimi may take it over me. She really is here to show why she seems to always win, isn't she? Well, anyway, Lola, please adopt me into your drag family so we can read the girls together.
Skull Kid, please step forward.
You're here as a queen that skipped the audition process, because we saw something in you, and we saw potential for you to go far here. I'm a little bit disappointed in your performance this week. Your verse was simple, and you clearly barely knew the choreography.
Tonight on the runway, you look amazing, but I have a bit of a gripe. I don't like reveal looks where I prefer the first look to the second one. This is very well constructed, but why would you go from the ostentatious, bright, glittery look to the simpler, more demure one? Again, you still did very well on tonight's runway, but I'm not sure you fully thought out the concept.
More spooky queens. And just like the last one, you completely flopped in this challenge. This should be humiliating for you. Your verse was shit, your dancing was shit, you trying to sell your runway look to the judges was shit. You're shit. Go home, and don't come back until you're less of a disaster.
The nerve of that bitch. I'd like her to get out from behind that panel, take the Werther's originals out of her pockets, tie back her greasy hair, and come up to this runway so I can see her with my hands. It really takes another level of confident delusion to say I look a mess when she looks like that. Bitch, your lip filler is dissolving.
Mimi Tachikawa, please step forward.
Can everyone just give Mimi a look up and down? No, I mean it. Each and every one of you, even the girls who did amazing on the runway this week. Look at what Mimi brought to the runway tonight, and take mental notes to get on this level. Because girl, this is drag. You 100% live up to your name. This might be one of the most beautiful looks to ever walk the runway. The level of drag you brought, and it's only day one, just wow. And in the challenge you were absolutely magnetic. I couldn't take my eyes off of you.
You were such a standout, I mean seriously, for the whole performance the energy and skill you had was unbelievable. And I just can't get over this runway look, Mimi, wow. The best reveals are when a look gets bigger after the reveal, and when you pulled open your corset that was on your first look and all that fabric just fell into this beautiful ball gown. I mean really, how did you even pull that off?
This is what we need to see on Cartoon Drag Race. Not that rickety-crickety drag over there. This, the drag excellence you brought today. Your mug is so perfectly done, you blended the clean girl look with pageant drag in the best way possible. It's rare that I'm at a loss for words, and it's rare that I have nothing to read a bitch over, but I don't see anything wrong tonight. You were just perfect tonight. And I expect nothing less from my fellow Miss Cartoon Continental sister, especially since you've won that crown twice, which nobody else has done to this day. It seems like you'll be winning this crown too.
Oh god, we're all fucked, aren't we? I had no idea Mimi was that big of a name, because like I said, I don't follow the pageant scene. This is one of the most universally positive critiques ever. I guess it's good that I made friends with her, but I'll have to work hard if I want to have a chance over her.
Meringue, please step forward.
I'll start with the positives. Meringue, your look tonight is fantastic, and knowing that every single part of it was made with your own hands makes it that much better. The handmade accessories, corset, and everything, it all comes together really well, and I loved your reveal. But in the challenge, it was a little messy, and I'd argue you were the worst this week unfortunately.
It comes down to details, I'd say. There was no part of your performance that was terrible, but there were lots of small slip-ups that all added up, and your vibe was off. You seemed nervous, because you probably were. And it's fine to be nervous, but you can't let us see that.
I wasn't impressed with you tonight. Your look is good, and as a strong designer I appreciate the intricacies of it. But girl, that performance was a hot mess. Your verse was strong, it told me what I needed to know, but in a girl group you have to perform with your group. Not only were you awful on your own, but it distracted us from everyone else. Just disappointing, really.
Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, please step forward.
I'll be fully honest, I didn't have high expectations for you. I mean, I don't see you as weak of course, but historically the kitschy comedy queens aren't especially strong in dance challenges. Whatever came over you to turn it out like this, hang on to it, and let it propel you far in this competition. You were great in the performance this week, you really stood out, and you had one of my favorite verses of the night. And on the runway, although the look has a few minor issues, it's very unique and effective.
I'm a comedy queen myself, and I love when queens like us prove our versatility. You had fire in your eyes tonight, it was clear you had something to prove, and whatever that was you proved it. Amazing job, you should be proud.
I don't like your runway tonight. I think the makeup is messy, and while the concept is strong, I don't think there's much gorgeousness or drag involved. But outside of my personal taste, it's fine, I suppose. In the performance, you definitely surprised me. Clowny queens like you usually aren't strong in a challenge like this, so credit where it's due. You were good and you did what you needed to do. But fix that disaster of a mug, please.
Aventurine, please step forward.
You were a force this week. Next to Mimi, I'd say you were my favorite. You hit every step, your verse was amazing, and on the runway you looked great. You were the only queen to do more than one reveal, and each one was better than the last. You really know how to command a runway, and that tracks, because you've walked them all over the world. I have no notes.
Wow, I'm blushing a little bit. Which I think was intended, so amazing job there. I will say, although your performance was very strong and you had my personal favorite runway of the night, I did have a bit more of a critique of your verse than my sister. It was very well written, and clearly well thought out, but it was a tad bit on the basic side at times. Any queen can tell us how hot and fierce they are, it left me wondering what else there was to your drag. That being said, if anyone gets to write a verse about being hot, you'd fit the bill.
I keep having to say this to you queens. This is drag, not playing with mommy's makeup while she isn't home. I want bigger eyeshadow, sharper contour, fiercer brows. Give me drag, I can't take this picture day portrait shit anymore. However, your runway look itself was great, and in the challenge you were absolutely a standout. All things considered, very good job, as much as I don't want to say that. But if you don't get some bigger lashes on those eyes next week, I'm coming back with my bat.
Oh wow, what a fucking surprise. They live for the queen who shows body and sells sex. Aventurine was fine, but bitch, where's the concept? Where's the talent? I don't care what he says, this isn't drag. It'll fly on a runway in Milan, and that's fine. But it isn't drag to me, and I'm not sorry to say it.
I fear that I've secured the win this week, and frankly, I deserve it. Some of the girls look bothered that I'm succeeding like this, especially that freaky looking one. You know, the ugly one in the basic gown? Yeah, that one. He's been giving me the stink eye since we were in the workroom, which makes sense given how terrible he smells. Maggie Simpson realness.
My queens, now that we've let you know your thoughts, it's time to reveal your placements. But first, I have an announcement to make. In order to give you all a chance to shine, I've decided that nobody will go home tonight. Meringue and Skull Kid, you are both safe. You may leave the stage. You got lucky, don't let me see you in this position again.
I would have bottomed this week if not for this twist, I'm sure of it. Thank you for this second chance, Kagamenelen. I won't let it go to waste, you'll see me in the top next week for sure.
Jesus, gross. At least I'm safe. I agree I was on the weaker side this week, but I don't think it was my fault if I'm being truthful, and I'm going to go off on Lola on Twitter for those bullshit critiques. These queens better stop acting a fool next week, because almost landing in the bottom from their bullshit is not gonna slide with me.
Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, you performed with energy and fire tonight, and subverted our expectations. Amazing job this week, you're safe.
Whoa, I was in the top. I'm so proud of myself, I never would have expected this. I need to keep this momentum up. Flower must be pissed right now. Oh, I really hope she's pissed.
Flower, in tonight's challenge, you were the perfect cunt. Amazing job this week, you're safe.
Frankly, I'm gagged that the rat, or rabbit, or whatever he is was in the top with me tonight. But the twins seem to have recognized my greatness, and I'm definitely where I belong tonight. Get used to seeing me here.
That means that Mimi Tachikawa and Aventurine, my loves, you are the top 2 queens of the week.
I think everyone expected this, but it still feels amazing to hear. I'll just need to keep it up for the rest of my time here, and that shouldn't be too hard. I'm glad that Meringue is safe, and that Flower was in the top this week. I would have been really sad if one of my new friends went home.
Well, is anybody surprised? If you are, banish the thought, because this was always gonna happen. Each and every one of you that voted me down in the casting special, put this in your pipe and smoke it. Now all I need to do is turn out the lip sync and take my first win.
Prior to tonight, I asked you to prepare a lip sync performance too. No Tears Left to Cry, by Ariana Grande.
The time has come for you to lip sync for the win. and don't it up.
Aventurine is giving me sex on legs, and at the same time he's doing amazing at really bringing the song to life and emoting. It's very soft and cunt, very practiced, and very clean. I think he might have this on lock.
Mimi is turning it out. I truly believe that Ariana Grande herself possessed her for this performance. She's throwing around every inch of that fabric, every stone is catching the light, and she's serving face to the judges. There are no stunts in this performance, no flashy moves, just pure lip sync perfection. You better fucking work.
Mimi Tachikawa and Aventurine did great in the lip sync.
My loves, I have made my decision. Aventurine, you're a winner, baby. Mimi, amazing job this week, you're safe.
Well, would you look at that? If you nasty bitches at home had it your way, I wouldn't even be here, and yet I just won the first challenge over a 2-time Miss Cartoon Continental. Funny, isn't it?
Congratulations to Aventurine. We both turned that lip sync out. I'm really happy for him. My week will come. Actually, it'll probably be next week. And maybe the week after that, too.
This is Untucked.
The queens enter Untucked, with Mimi skipping through the doorway. Once they get to the seating area and everyone sits down, Aventurine clears his throat to get their attention, and strikes a pose for everyone. The queens laugh, and Ritska turns red.
So, Aventurine won the challenge. I'm happy for him, though I might be just a bit bitter that I lost out on my chance. I still don't really know what came over me, but whatever it was, it won't happen again. Congratulations, Aventurine.
Meringue says congratulations to Mimi and Aventurine for being the tops of the week, and an extra congratulations to Aventurine for winning the lip sync. Mimi thanks her, and says that while she did think she would win, she's happy for Aventurine. Skull Kid scoffs, and the other queens side-eye him.
Oh, please. I'm sure everyone is just so happy for Aventurine. Yeah, right. The false niceties and bullshit need to stop before I get a headache. Aventurine didn't deserve that win, and all of these bitches are fake for pretending he did.
Aventurine asks Skull Kid if he has something to say, and he says yes, that Aventurine shouldn't have won the challenge this week. Aventurine smirks and rolls his eyes, and says he isn't very concerned about the opinion of the queen who did the worst of the week. Skull Kid just laughs to himself, and says that he's just keeping it real, but if that's the case he won't drag the topic on, since they all know he was handed the win for drama. Aventurine just smiles, and sits next to Ritska, which further flusters him.
I'm definitely enjoying Skull Kid's little tantrum. It makes sense that he's throwing a fit like this. I mean, he knows that if not for this being a non-elimination he would have gone home first after talking all that shit in the workroom about being handpicked by the judges. Well, guess what, mama? You were also handpicked by the judges to be in the bottom two. Eat it.
Flower suddenly speaks up, and says that she's just going to say what everyone's thinking, and that Oswald clearly should have bottomed over Meringue this week. Oswald looks over at her angrily, and asks why she's going out of her way to be a bitch when nobody brought that up. Flower says that anyone who looks him up and down could tell that his placement this week was rigged. Flower then adds that the others agree too, turning to Meringue and asking her to confirm. Meringue looks down a bit, staying quiet at first, but then meekly mumbling that she does think it would have made sense. Oswald quickly goes from angry to visibly upset.
Jesus, they couldn't just let me have my moment? And I'm so disappointed in Meringue. I thought she would be a friend here, but she's clearly a mean girl just like Flower. I can't believe that nobody is standing up for me. I worked hard to place in the top tonight, and the judges appreciated me. Why can't they just admit that?
Oswald just says that he thought Meringue was better than that, before going quiet. Meringue doesn't respond. After a few seconds of silence, Mimi says that what matters is that they're all still here, and asks if they can cheers their glasses. Skull Kid and Oswald reluctantly agree, and the others pick their glasses up and cheers.